Da vidimo. Kaže Machiavelli.
They do not see your patience as wisdom. They see it as a lack of spine. They do not see your kindness as strength. They see it as
Niko ne šima da
surrender.
se to odradi.
You are currently leaking power in every interaction because you are obsessed with being liked. But being liked is the consolation
Restos.
prize for men who are not respected. You can be liked and still be the first person fired when things get tough. Why? Because liked people are expendable. Liked men are tolerated. Liked men are the first to be ignored when things get serious. The man who matters is not liked. He is reckoned with. If there is a tightness in your chest right now, it is because the mask is cracking. You are realizing that your virtue has been covering your fear. You have been hiding behind kindness because you do not know how to carry the weight of being a man who demands things from the world. You hoped your goodness would be noticed. You hoped patience would be rewarded. You hoped effort would speak for itself. It never does. Tables are not offered. They are occupied. This is where the Machiavellian pivot begins. Not with cruelty, but with selectivity. Not with anger, but with consequence. From this moment forward, kindness is no longer your default setting. It is a premium resource. It is conditional. It is revocable. It is granted only where respect already exists, and withdrawn the moment it does not. If your kindness cannot turn into absence, it is not kindness. It is dependence. You are not choosing to stay. You are afraid to leave. And people can sense that instinctively. This is why your generosity is read as weakness. This is why your patience backfires. This is why your presence is consumed instead of valued. If you have felt the sting of being bypassed, if you are tired of your generosity being audited as weakness, then drop this in the comments. I am done being a servant. We are moving past the diagnosis. You know you are being used. You know you are being bypassed. Now you must learn the cost of access. You must learn how to turn your presence into a high-value asset by making your absence a terrifying possibility. The nice guy is dead.
Ja.
The sovereign is beginning to wake up.
Viloj.
We are about to strip away the secondary behaviors that are keeping you in the basement of the social hierarchy. You have spent your entire life building a reputation for being easy to work with. But look around. You have mistaken compliance for value, and that mistake has quietly hollowed you out. You believed that being easy to work with would make you indispensable, that removing friction from everyone else's life would earn you protection, gratitude, or promotion. What it earned you instead is invisibility. In the Machiavellian world that actually governs outcomes, the man who never refuses becomes background noise. Your agreement has no weight because it carries no risk. Your presence has no gravity because it is guaranteed. You have trained everyone around you to assume your availability, and once something is assumed, it stops being respected. Look closely at how people approach you. They do not ask, they inform. They do not appreciate, they expect. The friend who calls for a ride speaks as if you are already on the way. The family member who needs money frames it as an emergency, knowing you will absorb the discomfort rather than create tension. You call this loyalty. They call it access. In their internal accounting, your kindness is not generosity. It is infrastructure. You are the road they drive on without ever thinking about who built it. Every time you understand bad behavior, you reinforce this system. When someone arrives late and you smooth it over, you tell them that your time is flexible and therefore cheap. When someone disrespects you and you keep the peace, you tell them your dignity has no enforcement mechanism. They learn very quickly where they can relax their standards. Notice how these same people behave around those who can impose consequences. They show up on time. They choose their words carefully. They self-correct. Respect appears the moment risk appears. Your kindness removed the risk, so respect had no reason to exist. Your professional life exposes this most brutally. You stay late. You take on extra work. You absorb stress that was never assigned to you. You think you are proving commitment. What you are actually doing is labeling yourself as a utility. Management does not promote utilities. They extract from them. Why
Samo
would
se
they
skloni u
elevate the
stranu,
person who
debilčina
quietly
jedna.
keeps the machine
Vidio.
running at their own expense? Your reliability has become a ceiling. You are not being prepared for leadership. You are being optimized for output. Your kindness is being taxed until exhaustion, and when you finally break, you will be replaced without ceremony. This pattern repeats everywhere, because it is not situational, it is behavioral. You are over-present. You are over-responsive. You are too visible. In Machiavellian terms, you have no shadow. A man without a shadow cannot intimidate, cannot intrigue, cannot command attention. You appear everywhere, instantly, predictably, which strips you of leverage. People do not miss you because you never leave. They do not fear losing you because you have never shown the capacity to withdraw. This is where the law of the ghost becomes unavoidable. A ghost is powerful because its presence is uncertain. You have made yourself certain. To correct this, you must introduce absence deliberately and without announcement, not as punishment, not as drama, as recalibration. When you stop catching people, they fall. When you stop smoothing consequences, they feel friction. When you stop absorbing dysfunction, others are forced to confront their own inadequacy. Only then does your previous kindness register as value rather than entitlement. Your greatest fear has been conflict. You disguised it as morality, maturity, and patience, but it was fear. Fear of silence, fear of being disliked, fear of being framed as difficult. Machiavelli understood that conflict is the gatekeeper of respect. Without the willingness to clash, you cannot hold ground. Every confrontation you avoided compounded into a debt of disrespect that now defines your position. You traded sovereignty for comfort, and comfort never pays dividends. Examine how rooms respond to you. Do conversations shift when you enter, or do they continue unchanged? If nothing changes, you are not a presence, you are a fixture. Fixtures are ignored. Men who matter alter the atmosphere. They do so not by being loud, but by being selective. They do not agree reflexively. They do not fill silence nervously. They do not rush to reassure. They allow tension to exist, and tension creates attention. The truth you have resisted is simple and brutal. People do not want endless kindness. They want standards. Standards imply exclusion. Exclusion implies consequence. Consequence creates respect. A man with standards is unpredictable because access to him is conditional. A man without standards is manageable because he can be waited out. You have been waited out your entire life. This is where severance begins. You are not confronting. You are not explaining. You are not negotiating. You are withdrawing. You are auditing who expects access to you without earning it, who drains you without reciprocation, who grows comfortable in your generosity. Those channels are closing. No announcements, no justifications. Your silence will do the communicating your words never could. What follows is not hostility, it is reclassification. You are no longer a receiver responding to demands. You become a transmitter setting conditions. Your internal frequency shifts from approval-seeking to position-holding. People will feel this shift immediately. Some will adapt, some will resist, some will disappear. All outcomes favor you. We are finished observing the damage. What comes next is the controlled blackout that forces recalibration across every relationship you have allowed to overreach. If the idea of being resented by people who benefited from your weakness terrifies you, then stop now. But if you are ready to see how quickly respect appears when access is no longer guaranteed, stay locked in. The Machiavellian pivot is no longer theoretical. The first withdrawal is imminent. It's time to stop the leak. Right now, you have allowed your kindness to become a constant. And in every system that governs power, a constant has no price. Air is essential, yet no one bows to oxygen. You did this to yourself. You turned your presence into something people expect, rather than something they earn. If you want to be valued, you must become a variable. You must introduce the possibility of your total absence. This is the strategic blackout. Think about your phone. Specifically, the people who text you only when they are bored or when they need a quick favor. You've noticed the pattern. They send a low-effort message, and you, eager to prove your worth, reply with a paragraph. You are over-investing in a failing stock. Every time you double text or reply instantly to someone who takes 5 hours to acknowledge your existence, you are signaling that your time is worth less than theirs. You think you're being responsive. Machiavelli would tell you that you are broadcasting your own social poverty. You are showing them that you have nothing better to do than wait for their signal. Starting today, you are going to implement the blackout. And understand this clearly. This is not about pretending to be busy. Pretending is still asking for approval. This is about becoming unaccounted for. When someone who treats you as a convenience reaches out, there is no response window to manage. There is no excuse to craft. You simply do not appear. No explanation, no apology. When you explain your absence, you are asking for forgiveness for having a life. You are acknowledging that they have a right to your time. They don't. Silence creates uncertainty, and uncertainty restores leverage. The moment you go silent, something shifts. They wonder, they check, they reread the message. They feel the first tremor of loss. Not because they miss you emotionally, but because a resource they assumed was guaranteed has become unreliable. That unreliability is the seed of value. People only value what they might lose. The world operates on investment psychology. We only value what we have to work for. By making your kindness free, you have made it worthless. You are the man who buys the expensive dinner for a woman who hasn't even given you her full attention. You are the man who does the unpaid overtime for a boss who doesn't know your last name. You are trying to buy respect with favors. It is a loser's game. You cannot buy respect. You can only extort it through scarcity. You must make people work for your kindness. It must be a prize they win, not a charity they receive. Consider your yes. You say it so often it has lost its flavor. You say yes to the weekend plans you don't like. You say yes to the extra work that isn't yours. You say yes because you are terrified of the no. But no is the only word that creates a boundary. No is the only word that defines who you are. A man who cannot say no has no yes worth having. The next time someone asks you for something that doesn't serve your mission, don't soften the blow. Don't say I'd love to, but just say I can't do that. The next time a request violates your priorities, do not negotiate with your own spine. Say no once. Say it cleanly. Then stop talking. This is where most men fail. They panic in silence. They rush to justify. They dilute the boundary they just tried to set. Do not rescue them from the discomfort. Let it sit. That pressure is not cruelty. It is calibration. Respect begins at the point where comfort ends. Your addiction is not kindness. It is validation. You need the reassurance that comes from being seen as helpful, generous, agreeable. You chase the label of great guy because it numbs the fear of being irrelevant. But great guy is not a compliment. It is a classification. It means safe. It means exploitable. It means controllable. Machiavelli warned that he who seeks to be loved places his fate in the hands of others. You handed your peace, your confidence, and your authority to people who barely notice you. Look at how you handle ghosting or flaking. When someone cancels on you last minute, you say no worries, totally understand. You just lied. You do worry. You don't understand. And by saying those words, you just told them that your time is a playground they can visit whenever they feel like it. The Machiavellian response is not confrontation. It's a withdrawal of access. If they flake once, they don't get a second chance for a month. If they flake twice, they are dead to you. No closure talk. No, hey, I felt disrespected. Just a cold, clean cut. A commander doesn't negotiate with subordinates who break the rules of engagement. He simply terminates the contract. You are currently suffering from low-status empathy. You feel bad for everyone except yourself. You worry about hurting the feelings of the very people who are currently stepping on yours. This is a mental sickness. You are prioritizing the comfort of your predators over your own survival. You need to develop a targeted coldness. This isn't about being a jerk. It's about being expensive. You must become a luxury that only the worthy can afford. Your time, your advice, and your labor are the most valuable assets you own. Start treating them like gold, not like dirt. The people in your life are going to react to this pivot. They will call you selfish. They will say you've changed. They will try to guilt trip you back into your old role as the reliable servant. Do not flinch. This is the extinction burst. It is the last-ditch effort of a parasite to keep the host from shaking them off. When they complain about your new boundaries, it is proof that the boundaries are working. It is proof that they are finally feeling the price of your presence. If they don't like the price, let them shop elsewhere. You are clearing the room for people who can actually pay in the currency of mutual respect. We are moving into the final stage of the transformation. You have diagnosed the lie. You have executed the blackout. Now we must discuss the re-entry. When you do choose to show kindness, it will no longer be seen as your only option. It will be seen as a sovereign act of grace. People will treasure it because they know you are capable of withholding it. They will value your yes because they have felt the cold bite of your no. Are you ready to stop being a good sport and start being a player? The next part of the pivot is about frame control. It's about ensuring that when you do speak, the room listens, not out of politeness, but out of necessity. If you are still trying to be liked, leave now. If you are ready to be respected, stay. The final adjustment is about dominance without noise, about authority without explanation, about becoming a man whose kindness is feared to be withdrawn. Look at yourself one last time without flinching. If you are still searching for a polite way to implement these truths, you have already failed. There is no polite way to stop being a slave. There is only the cold, hard snap of the chain breaking. You are currently standing at a crossroads. You can either go back to being the reliable background character in everyone else's story, or you can become the uncontested director of your own. Machiavelli did not write to comfort crowds. He wrote for the prince. And a prince does not ask for permission to rule. He occupies the throne and waits for the world to adjust. You must understand that the nice guy you've been playing isn't just a personality, it's a negotiation tactic for the powerless. You've been using kindness as a shield because you are too afraid to carry a sword. But a shield without a sword is just a target. Today, the shield is shattered. Starting this second, you are implementing social seniority. From now on, you are the most important person in every room you enter. Not because you are louder, but because you are the most unmovable. When someone interrupts you, you do not stop talking. You continue your sentence at the same volume, with the same pace, looking them directly in the eyes until they feel the crushing weight of their own rudeness. You aren't being mean, you are enforcing the tax of your presence. If they want to hear what you have to say, they pay with their silence. If you have the courage to kill your old self, drop this in the comment, I am no longer a choice. Say it to cement your new reality. I am looking for the few who are ready to be feared for their standards, rather than loved for their weakness. If you can't even type those words, you've already accepted your role as a doormat. You have been a value provider for free. That ends now. Think about the last time you gave advice to a friend who never followed it, only for them to come back and cry on your shoulder about the same problem a week later. You listened for 2 hours, you gave them your energy. You drained your own battery to jumpstart theirs. Stop. You are not a therapist. You are not a dumping ground for other people's emotional waste. The next time they start that cycle, you cut them off mid-sentence. You tell them, I've already given you the solution. Until you execute it, I don't want to hear about the problem. Watch their face. They will be shocked. They might even be angry. Good. That anger is the sound of a parasite losing its host. You must become emotionally expensive. Most men are discounted goods. They are always on sale. They give away their anger, their joy, and their secrets to anyone who asks. A sovereign is a vault. No one should know what you are thinking or how you feel unless it serves a specific strategic purpose. If someone tries to bait you into an argument, you don't take the bait. You don't defend yourself. You don't explain your side. You simply look at them with the
Najeo
bored
sam se,
expression of a king watching a peasant throw a tantrum.
sada krenem se
Your
nerviram i krene
silence is a
želudac
mirror.
I to je to.
It forces them to see how small they are. Machiavelli knew that the man who cannot be provoked cannot be controlled. By remaining a cipher, you become a god in their eyes because they can no longer find the handle to pull you. You are currently leaking authority through your body language. You lean in when people talk. You tilt your head to show you're listening. You nod like a bobblehead to show agreement. Stop it. You look like a dog begging for a treat. A commander takes up space. He leans back. He keeps his head level. He speaks in a lower register. He doesn't fill the silence, he owns it. If there is a gap in the conversation, let it hang. Let the other person feel the pressure to fill it. Usually they will fill it by revealing their own insecurities or giving you information they shouldn't have. Silence is the ultimate interrogation room. You need to understand the Machiavellian pivot of after 30. If you are over 30 and still trying to be the nice guy, you are a tragedy. At this stage of life, kindness is no longer viewed as potential, it is viewed as defeat. The world assumes that if you haven't learned to be a predator by now, you are permanent prey. You must execute a hard reset on your entire social identity. You must vanish from the circles that don't respect you. You must stop attending the events where you are an extra. You must build a life so focused on your own mission that people have to apply for an appointment just to get 10 minutes of your time. This is the final truth. The people who used your kindness as a weapon against you will hate the new version of you. They will try to pull you back into the bucket like crabs. They will use guilt, they will use shame, and they will use concern as a weapon. Are you okay? You seem different. Translation: why can't I use you anymore? Your answer is silence. Your answer is a cold, unwavering stare. You are not okay. You are sovereign. You are no longer interested in being the best friend. You are interested in being the best version. Listen closely, because this is the last time I will explain the mechanics of your survival. First, you must face the diagnosis. Your kindness was never a virtue. It was a lack of options. You were nice only because you were too terrified to be anything else, and that pathetic charade ends right now. You are transitioning immediately into the blackout. You are withdrawing your availability from the market. No more instant replies that reek of desperation, and no more explaining your absence as if you owe the world an apology for having a life. You are becoming a high-value variable, not a constant resource. This leads to the scarcity reset. Your yes is no longer a giveaway. It is a premium asset with a heavy price tag. It must be earned through mutual respect and high-value exchange, or it is withheld entirely. Finally, you will occupy the sovereign frame. You are the director of every scene you enter. You set the tone, you define the boundaries, and you never under any circumstance justify or apologize for having standards. You are no longer seeking permission to exist. You are demanding the world adjust to your presence. The pivot is complete. Go out there today and start the purge. Identify the top 3 people in your life who are currently farming your kindness. Cut them off. No warning, no talk, just a cold withdrawal of your resources. Start your strategic blackout. If you don't have the stomach to do this, then delete this video from your history, because you are a waste of these truths. But if you want the respect you've been denied for decades, you will execute this with surgical precision. Most men watch the first minute of this and scroll back to their entertainment. They are the ones who will be destroyed quietly. You are still here. That means you have the predator DNA somewhere under all that social conditioning. But watching a video isn't enough. You need the vault. I want to offer a genuine opportunity to those of you ready for the next level. Join the membership now. By clicking that join button, you are stepping into a circle designed for commanders. Inside, I break down the specific dark psychology scripts and Machiavellian maneuvers that are far too dangerous for the public algorithm to handle. If you choose not to join, you are choosing to stay in the shallow end, trying to navigate a world of sharks with a map made for goldfish. Don't be the man who almost made it. Step up and join the elite, or stay with the prey. The choice is entirely yours. Like this video to save another man from a life of quiet desperation. Every like pushes this execution order to another man who is currently being used as a doormat. Help him find his spine. Subscribe and turn on notifications. If you miss the next lesson, you are losing the edge we just built. This is a journey of total reconstruction, and you cannot afford to skip a single lesson. Thank you for reaching the end. Most didn't. Most are too weak to face their own reflection. You aren't. Now go execute. There are 5 things about yourself that you must never put into words. Not to your friends, not to the woman in your bed, and certainly not to the world. Stoicism teaches us that your internal world is your only true fortress, but the moment you speak your vulnerabilities, you hand over the keys to that fortress. Niccolo Machiavelli made it clear, the more people know about your internal gears, the easier it is for them to jam the machine. You think you are being authentic, but what you are actually doing is exposing fault lines. Every time you reveal a weakness, you aren't building a connection. You are providing a blueprint for your own destruction. You are showing the world exactly where to strike to make you bleed. People don't listen to understand you. They listen to find the handle they can use to move you. Once they know what hurts you, what you fear, what you lack, they no longer need to guess. They wait. You call it authenticity. They call it information. Every weakness you name becomes a handle. Every vulnerability you explain becomes a future pressure point. People do not listen to protect you. They listen to remember where to apply force when the moment benefits them. Pay attention to what happens after you share too much. Respect shifts. Boundaries loosen. People test you. Not because they are monsters, because you taught them how. People do not listen to your pain to protect you. They listen to catalog it. This is why the most dangerous man in any room is not the loudest or the strongest. It is the one no one can read. The one who keeps his flaws in the dark, where they can't be weaponized. Most men fail because they leak power through their tongues, giving away the very things that make them easy to break. If you miss even one of these 5, you leave a door unlocked. And once someone walks through it, they will rearrange your life without ever raising their voice. Stop being an open book that everyone can read for free. It is time to close the pages and lock the vault. If you value your sovereignty, you need to understand why these 5 things must never be spoken. Weakness 1, your need for validation. The first and most pathetic weakness you must kill is your need for validation. Listen carefully. The fastest way to lose power is to ask for it indirectly. And that is exactly what validation seeking is. You are not asking to be understood. You are asking to be approved. And approval is a currency controlled by other people. Every time you look at your phone to see if she replied. Every time you adjust your words so they land softer. Every time you explain yourself so you are not misunderstood. You are telling the world one thing. Your sense of worth is negotiable.
Uspeo sam 5 poraza za redom u
This
7 na
weakness does
7,
not
sad ću da
look
ispadnem iz
It
srebra.
looks normal. That is why it is
Pa tako
lethal.
da ništa
As
pametno.
a man seeking sovereignty, you must become an island of
Jebi ga, ja sam na
self-certainty.
putu dok
If
će,
you do
završio s
something
poslom, pa
great,
idem kući.
let the result be your
A, dobro,
reward.
dobro.
If you fail,
Pa ćemo se
let
čut
the
onda,
lesson be your
vjerovatno.
teacher. Never
Valjda
dođe.
ću
invite a
biti
third
tu.
party to give their
Želim samo 2
opinion on
pobjede u
your
7-7
progress.
da završim
Look at your
7-7 za
daily
danas.
life.
Sutra ne dolaze
You post a
majstori i sutra
photo
sam...
and wait for the
I
likes
sutra
to
ću imati
tell you
više
if you
vremena,
look
kako
good.
se zove.
You finish a task at work
Ma
and look
lagano.
at your boss's face to see if you are allowed
Ništa,
to
ajde,
feel
čućemo se,
proud.
uživaj, čao.
You tell a woman
Sretno.
about your achievements
Hvala.
and wait for her smile to validate your masculinity. This is not sharing, this is auditioning. When you audition for someone's approval, you are subconsciously telling them that they are the judge and you are the subject. You are placing yourself beneath them. Machiavelli understood this instinctively. A man who needs to be liked will always be ruled by those who withhold it. Power flows toward the person who can walk away without explanation. By showing your hunger for validation, you are identifying yourself as a prime victim. People will see your need, and they will feed it just enough to keep you loyal, but never enough to make you free. They will use praise as a carrot, to lead you exactly where they want you to go. Here is the brutal truth you need to hear. The more you need validation, the less you receive respect. The more you explain, the cheaper your position becomes. The more you seek approval, the easier you are to control. People do not reward need, they exploit it. You have seen this pattern already. The more you cared, the less effort they gave. The more you showed interest, the more casual they became. The more available you were, the less valuable you felt. That was not coincidence. That was economics. Imagine you've just made a major move. Maybe you started a business, hit a new PR in the gym, or closed a difficult deal. You go to your circle and you start talking. You aren't just stating facts, you are fishing. You're waiting for that one specific friend to say, "Man, that's impressive." But he doesn't say it. He stays quiet. Or worse, he gives you a backhanded compliment, like, "That's cool, but aren't you worried about the taxes on that?" Because you have the weakness of validation, you immediately feel the drop in your chest. Your win feels smaller. You start defending yourself. You start explaining why it's a big deal. Stop right there. Look at what you are doing. You are literally begging a person who might be secretly jealous of you to give you permission to feel successful. You have turned your gold into lead because you let a spectator weigh it for you. Now understand this clearly. The problem is not that you want connection. The problem is that you demand confirmation. You do not need validation to act. You need discipline to stop asking for permission. Stop narrating your feelings. Stop explaining your intentions. Stop waiting for agreement to move forward. The man who moves without consensus forces others to adjust. When you move without asking, "How did I do?" you radiate a level of power that terrifies people. It's called high-status indifference. When you don't care if they clap, they start to wonder why you don't need them. Your silence regarding your own merit creates a vacuum that they will try to fill with respect. If you are currently addicted to the applause of people who haven't even achieved half of what you want, you are building your kingdom on sand. You must learn to eat your wins in private. If the world finds out, let them find out through the noise of your success, not the noise of your mouth. The bridge to the next level. Mastering your need for approval is the first step in sealing the leaks in your armor. But there is a second weakness that is even more volatile. While validation makes you a puppet, this next weakness makes you a target. It is the internal roadmap you give to your enemies. If you can't control your reactions, you can't control your life. If you are ready to stop being a performer for the crowd and start being the architect of your own respect, drop this in the comments. I am my own judge. Let the vultures know that their opinions no longer have a seat at your table. Now, stay focused. Because as dangerous as the need for approval is, it is nothing compared to the second weakness we are about to expose, the one that tells people exactly how to break your spirit with a single word. Weakness 2. Your emotional triggers. Pay attention now, because this weakness is how people enter you. You are not controlled by what you feel. You are controlled by what provokes you. Every man has triggers. The difference is whether they are private or public. Yours are visible. That is why you get tested. If the need for validation is the leash they use to lead you, your emotional triggers are the remote control they use to move you. Machiavelli understood that the one who is less predictable is the one who is most feared. But most of you are as predictable as a light switch. Someone flips the switch and you light up in anger. Someone pushes a button and you explode in a defensive rant. In that moment, you have ceased to be a man and have become a reaction. Machiavelli understood this brutally well. The space between a stimulus and your response is where your power lives. If that space is zero, if you react the second you are provoked, you have zero power. You are effectively handing your enemy a map of your nervous system. You are showing them exactly where the wires are exposed and exactly which one to pull when they want to watch you dance. Understand this harsh truth. Every time you lose your temper, every time you get offended, and every time you feel the desperate need to clap back at a comment or an insult, you are bleeding. You are leaking the very energy you need to build your empire. When you get angry, you lose the ability to see the board. You stop being a strategist and start being a victim. Your rival isn't afraid of your yelling. They are encouraged by it. Why? Because they know they've found your limit. They know they can disrupt your focus whenever it suits their agenda. Think about arguments you lost, not because you were wrong, but because you were emotional. Your voice rose, your clarity dropped, your leverage vanished. You did not lose the argument. You lost yourself inside it. And once that happens, the other person gains the upper hand without lifting a finger. Imagine you are in a high-stakes environment, perhaps a
Jesam bio
business
bio
negotiation
Daxon.
or a social gathering
super.
where status is being weighed.
Javio
There is
se i
someone
otišao,
there
jel?
who sees you as a threat.
Ide s posla
They don't
kući
attack
pa
your
eto.
logic, they attack your identity. They make a subtle, mocking comment
Ja
about
se
your
vratio
past,
sa pauze
your
za
clothing,
jelo,
or your
vratio
latest
se odmah me
project.
sačekao poraz.
It's a test.
Bravo.
They are fishing for a reaction.
Tako i treba.
The average
Ja
man
sad ću još jedan
feels the
poraz,
heat
znači ja ću sad
rise in
imati...
his chest. He bites. He says, "What do you mean by that?" Or he tries to insult them
Ne,
back with
s onim je
visible
6, s
aggression.
ovim će biti
Game
7
over.
poraza za red.
The room just watched you lose
Samo
your frame.
lagano,
You
opušteno.
just
Samo
confirmed
gubi.
that their
Nemoj
needle
se
hit a
stidjeti
nerve.
sa gubljenja.
You have given them confirmation of weakness. Now they know that whenever they want to knock you off your game,
Bilo bi ja
all they
EU2,
have to
ali
do is
ni
mention that
EU2
one
je
specific
isto.
topic. You have given them a permanent weapon against you, and you did it because your ego was too fragile to stay silent. From this second forward, you must adopt the mask of stone. When someone attempts to trigger you, you must realize that their words are an invitation to enter a cage. If you step in, they own you. If you stare back with total ice-cold indifference, you own them. There is
4-1-5,
nothing
jebem
more
li.
terrifying to a manipulator than a man who does not react to an insult. It makes them feel small. It makes them feel like their weapon is made of plastic. Your emotions are high-octane fuel. You do not waste that fuel on offense. You save it for execution. If someone insults you, you don't fight them with words. You outpace them with results. You build so much success that their insults become invisible from the height you've reached.
Ma ja,
You must
900
become a
mi
monster.
skineš, ma
You
puši
hear the
bre,
insult,
kurac
you
Fave.
process the intent
Puši ga
behind it,
mamuti, jebem
and you
bre.
dismiss it as low
Fave mi
value
okinuo
Ore,
noise.
900.
You do not defend yourself.
Koji
To
Fave?
defend
A,
is to admit that the
183 nešto na
accusation
ovome
has the power
mom.
to harm you. A lion does not defend his lionness against the barking of a dog. He simply continues to be the lion. Mastering your triggers is how you protect your focus. It is how you stay in
To
the
sam
driver's
trebao
seat while
tražio.
others are crashing. But even a man with a stone face can be destroyed if he lets
Ne znaš
people
što smo
see the
pobedili
blueprint
ovu.
of his past failures. As
Ne
we
znam.
move forward,
Ne
we
znaš
are
što
going
smo
to look
bolji.
at the third weakness, the
Već
one
zato
you
što
think is
su oni
bonding but
majmuni-
is actually poison.
Gori.
We are going to talk about why your
Ne
honesty
to,
regarding
nego
your
za,
old
ima i
wounds
toga.
is the
Nego
very
zato
thing
što
keeping you from
su
a new
izabrali
future.
Fave-ove da igraju.
If you
3
think your
Fave.
Oni-
emotional triggers are
to je super
dangerous,
odlično.
wait until you see how
A
people
2 Fave
weaponize your
183, Fave
past traumas.
4-5.
The deeper we go, the more dangerous it gets for those who refuse to change. Weakness 3.
I ovo si njihov
your
mouse
past
izvrnuo na
traumas.
ovom...
This weakness is quieter, more dangerous, because you think it is behind you. It is not. Your past is not something
medalja.
you survived. It is
Pazi,
something
3
still running
tenka
you. Every story you tell about what hurt
iz
you
tog
becomes
pizdića
a tool
Fave-ovi
others can pick up without effort.
i mouse
You
koji
call
si
it
izvrnuo
being
boč.
open. The world treats it
Kako
as
da
a
ne
user
pobediš?
manual. In today's culture, you are told that healing means sharing. You are told that being a victim gives you a special kind of social currency. That is a lie designed to keep you weak. In the Machiavellian reality, your past trauma is not a badge of honor. It is a structural flaw. By sharing the story of how you were broken, you are not finding support. You are handing out a manual on how to break you again. Understand the harsh truth. Most people do not care about your sad story. They consume it like entertainment. When you tell someone about your father's absence, your childhood traumas, or your past betrayals, they aren't thinking about how to help you heal. They are thinking about how that trauma has shaped your current insecurities. Stoic discipline never asked you to relive the wound. It demanded mastery over it. What no longer moves you, no longer controls you, what you keep revisiting remains alive. You do not need to talk about your past to heal it. You need to stop letting it decide your present behavior. We are moving now to the fourth weakness, the one that turns a king into a beggar. It is the hidden rot that keeps you from ever being truly free. We are going to expose the danger of your dependency on others. If you think your past is a weight, wait until you realize how your current needs are actually chains. Weakness 4. Your dependency on others. This weakness is the most humiliating one to admit, which is exactly why it controls you. You
14
tell
si spalio,
yourself you
14
are
pogodio,
loyal.
13
You tell
penetrirao.
yourself
Ovo
you
možeš.
value
Može.
connection. You tell yourself you are
Sta.
committed. What you are really
Tako i
afraid
treba.
of is standing alone. Dependency is
pjesmi
not
dobar.
about need. It is about fear of absence. The moment you believe you cannot lose someone, you have already surrendered power. You stop negotiating from strength. You start negotiating from survival. Look at your behavior. You tolerate disrespect longer than you should. You accept inconsistency. You would never advise another man to accept. You stay quiet when something feels wrong, because you fear what happens if you speak and they walk away. That is not patience. That is dependency. In relationships, this is fatal. You adjust your standards to keep proximity. You explain boundaries instead of enforcing them. You stay available even when it costs you dignity. And the other person senses it immediately. Not logically, instinctively. They feel that you need them more than they need you. And once that imbalance exists, respect collapses. Not because they are cruel, but because dependence is heavy. And people push away what feels heavy. Machiavelli understood this with ruthless clarity. A man who cannot stand alone will accept any condition to avoid isolation. That makes him permanently subordinate.
To je mrtva tundra.
Dependency
7 na
turns
7 igramo
relationships
tundru.
into
Jebem materi tundri
negotiations
7.
where you always pay more. At work, it looks different,
Ajoj.
but ends the same way. You depend on approval. You depend on one role. You depend on one source of income. So you tolerate pressure. You tolerate disrespect. You tolerate being undervalued. Because walking away feels impossible. And people sense that too.
Ne
They
popni
load
se.
more work onto you. They delay recognition. They speak to you differently. Not because you are weak, because you have no exit. Dependency removes your ability to say no with credibility. And here is the truth you have avoided. People do not abandon the dependent because they are heartless. They abandon them because dependency suffocates attraction, respect,
shit.
and trust. No one wants to feel like the only pillar holding someone upright. This is why you feel anxious when distance appears. Why silence unsettles you. Why uncertainty terrifies you. You are not afraid of losing them. You are afraid of being left alone with yourself. The harsh truth is that humans are biologically wired to lose respect for those they have to carry. You might think your dependency shows trust, but to the world, it shows incompetence. If you depend on your parents for money, they own your opinions. If you depend on a woman for your
Ajoj.
happiness, she owns your peace of mind. If
Pogodi
you
mene,
depend on a
bro.
mentor to make every single decision for you, he owns your success. Machiavelli warned that he who is the cause of another becoming powerful is the ruin of himself. By being dependent, you are making everyone around you more powerful than you. You are building a throne for them while you sit in the dirt. Right now, too many of your decisions are driven by the same question. What if I lose this? That question shapes your tone. It shapes your boundaries. It shapes your tolerance. And anyone who senses that question living inside you gains
Jebem
leverage.
ti.
Dependency turns every disagreement into a risk assessment, every boundary into a gamble, every act of self-respect into a threat to stability. That is not living. That is containment. You must become a self-contained unit. This does not mean you never work with others. It means you never rely on them for your fundamental
Bježi
survival.
nazad, bježi.
You must always
Bježi,
have your own
druže.
war chest,
Vidi ga.
your own money, your own skills,
A, i tebe
and
random
your own
karaju, a?
social circle
Na
outside of
6-0
your primary
idemo, znači
relationship.
bježi, kažem mu
Never
da
reveal
bježi od
that you are
njih.
trapped,
Onaj
or that you have
crveni da
no
dođe
other
kod mene da
options.
ga ja ubijem.
Even if you are struggling, you maintain the frame of a man who chooses to be there, not a man who is stuck there. Respect is earned through the perceived ability to walk away. If they know you can't walk away, they have no reason to treat you well. Dependency is a chain that keeps you small. It's the admission that you are incomplete. But there is one final weakness that is the most dangerous of all. It is the one that invites the wolves to your door because it proves you are cornered. We are moving now to the final, most brutal pillar. It is the ultimate social sin that will get you eaten alive in any environment. If you think being dependent is bad, wait until you see what happens when the world realizes you have nowhere else to go. Weakness 5. Your lack of options.
promaši ga na
This
kraju.
is the weakness beneath all the others. The one you never say out loud. The one that decides how much disrespect you tolerate, how much pain you endure, and how small you allow yourself to become. You stay because you believe you have nowhere else to go. That belief shapes everything.
Jesti.
When options are limited, standards collapse.
Šta ima?
When exits disappear,
Otkud tebe ovo
courage
će?
fades. When alternatives feel distant, submission feels reasonable. Look at your life honestly. You stayed in situations that drained you because leaving felt risky. You accepted treatment.
Ja
You
igram
resented
referala, on
because
igra
starting over
onaj
felt terrifying.
Sam
You
7.
swallowed words you should have spoken because losing access
Pardon.
felt worse than losing yourself. That is not loyalty. That is scarcity. And scarcity is visible. People sense when you cannot leave. They feel it in how you
Ne dam se
negotiate.
medalje
They hear
oduzeti,
it in
Bože.
how you compromise. They see it in how much you tolerate. Machiavelli understood this law without mercy. A man with no alternatives will accept any condition offered to
Bože,
him.
Bože,
He
Bože.
becomes permanent property of circumstance.
No,
This is
treba
why
mu
power
uzeti.
never begins with confrontation. It begins with options.
Evo sunce.
Options give weight
Ništa
to
to.
silence. Options give credibility to
Tier
boundaries. Options make walking away effortless instead of dramatic. Without options,
Ništa toga.
every relationship becomes a trap. Without options, every conflict becomes a threat. Without options, every decision feels urgent and emotional. That urgency is what others use against you. When someone knows you need them, they delay. When someone knows you depend on them, they test. When someone knows you cannot leave, they stop respecting you. Not because
novi?
they are evil, because leverage has shifted. This is why your progress
Alright.
stalled. This is why confidence feels temporary. This is why peace feels conditional. You built a life where losing one thing
Gledao
feels
sam
like
pro-
losing everything.
profesori
And
srednje
that is
škole
the
u
most dangerous
kvizu
position a man can
bilo
occupy.
te gledam
Stoic discipline was never about
kako to
detachment
lik
for
iz srednje.
comfort. It was about insulation. A man who can
Čovjek s
stand
50
alone is
nešto,
immune to
mislim
coercion.
50,
A
51.
man with options does not explain himself. The harsh
Ja
truth
pravio
is
još
that the
jedno
world
dete.
treats you based on your market value,
Zakao
not your
čast.
loyalty. If a company knows you have no other job offers, they will never
Ima,
give
ima,
you a
ima dve
raise.
čerke, kako
If a
se zove,
woman
video da
knows
se
no
nema
other
ništa
women
od
want
bude,
you,
nema ništa
she
i
will
on
stop trying to
da
keep
napravi
you.
još jedno
Never,
dete.
ever admit you are at a dead end. Even if you are down to your last dollar, you move as if you have 10 more deals
Ne ide
waiting in the
nikako, imao
wings.
6 poraza
This is
zaredom
not
u
about
ovom
lying.
7 na
It is
7,
about
izgubio
strategic
silne poene,
silence.
izgubim sve.
You must always be shopping, always be networking, always be improving your skills so that you do have options.
Izgubim živce,
But more
izgubim vreme, ali
importantly,
sam se
you
vratio
must
s jednu
keep
dobru
the
pobedu,
world
4-6 poena.
The minute they think they are your only choice, they
Pa
will
me
treat
to,
you
je,
like a
kažemo,
servant.
raspoložilo.
When they think you might leave at any second for a better offer, they will treat you like a king. Your power is directly tied to your perceived mobility. If you are a man who can walk away and survive, you are a man who must be respected. If you are a man who must stay to survive, you are a man who can be ignored. We have exposed the 5 leaks that are currently draining your power. Your need for validation, your emotional triggers, your past traumas, your dependency, and your lack of options. If you reveal these, you are not being real, you are being a target. Machiavelli and the Stoics didn't teach silence to make you lonely. They taught it to make you untouchable. A man who keeps his internal mechanics private is a man who cannot be manipulated. He is a mystery, and mystery is the foundation of all true authority. Stop handing out the daggers that people will eventually use to stab you. Lock the vault. Build your strength in the shadows, and let your results be the only thing the world is allowed to see. If you reached this point, you did not watch casually. You stayed because something landed. Anchor it. If this video challenged how you see yourself, drop this in the comments. I build options. Say it to lock the shift. Like this video to help the algorithm find other men who are tired of being used. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. We are tearing down the lies they told you about vulnerability and replacing them with the cold truth of Machiavellian stoicism. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. Most men don't. I'll see you in the next video.
5 kilova. Majke ga nabijem u popis zetne. Ja pobit svi petoricu.
Bravo.
Eto, ova partija mi je falila i ja ću opet da dobijem 40 i nešto poena i vratio sam se opet na početak.
Someone you trust is lying to your face right now. And the worst part?
Frontline
You're
jesam,
helping
nego
them do it.
107
Every
na 7.
liar uses the same question.
Još 6 kilova
Not
pilot,
to
novi
explain,
rekord. 6
to
kilova.
control. If you have
Znači,
ever walked away from a conversation feeling confused,
znači mi odmah 50
guilty,
poena.
or unsure of what you clearly saw with your own eyes, this video is about you. That feeling was not an accident. It was a tactic. Most people think a liar hides behind a story. They don't. A professional manipulator hides behind questions. They don't want to convince you of a lie. They want to make you feel like a villain for even noticing it. If you've heard any of the 5 questions I'm about to expose, you were not in a conversation. You were inside a psychological execution designed to extract compliance without resistance. Machiavelli warned that the most dangerous enemy is not the one who attacks your walls, but the one who convinces you to open the gates yourself. In the next minutes, we are going to audit the exact phrases predators use to gaslight your intuition, dissolve your confidence, and quietly rewrite reality in their favor. We are breaking down the 5 manipulative questions liars always ask, stripping away their masks to reveal why they use them and how to protect yourself from falling into their trap. Understand this. It's not just about what they said, it's about how they say it and why. Pay close attention as we deconstruct their script sentence
Pazi,
by
za
sentence.
3000 damage i 6
Question
kilo,
by
koliko god
question.
sam ja
The
fokusirao,
audit
tog sam i
begins
ubio.
with the most dangerous
Samo
weapon of
32
all.
poena.
1.
Bravo.
Why
Jednu
would I
govna,
lie to you about
Jer
something like
računam.
that? This question is the ultimate
Jebote,
defensive
odradio sam
maneuver.
sav posao, ono,
It is not
50
an
poena,
answer.
ono,
It is a counterattack.
maksimum.
When you
Barem
corner a
40, malo pre
manipulator
sam
with a
dobio
fact,
46
a
poena.
discrepancy, or a gut feeling, they don't defend their logic, they attack your character.
Za
Why
5
would I
i 7 sa
lie to you
40
about
do
something
duše
like
ide
that?
sa 65
Notice the
asistencije.
architecture
Ali
of
imao
this
sam samo 3
sentence.
kila.
They
A
aren't
sad sam
saying I
6
didn't do
komada.
it. They are asking you to provide a motive for their betrayal. They are forcing you to become the prosecutor in a trial
Dođi
you
vamo s
didn't
prvi
ask
noću da
for.
te ubijem,
Machiavelli
znači
understood this
treba mi
move
za medalje.
centuries ago. He warned that appearing virtuous is often more effective than being virtuous. By asking, why would I lie? The predator is wrapping themselves in a cloak of faked innocence. They are implying that they are too moral, too stable, or too invested in you to ever deceive you. It's a calculated move to make your suspicion look like
Sad
insanity.
sam se
If
zajebo
you hear
malo.
this question, realize what is happening. The focus has shifted from their lie to your lack of trust. They want you to feel like a bad person for even noticing the cracks in their story. They want you to apologize for being observant. Think about the psychological pressure here. Your brain is wired for social harmony. When someone you care about asks, why would I lie? Your biological instinct is to de-escalate. You start thinking, maybe I am being too hard on them. Maybe there is a misunderstanding. Stop. That hesitation is exactly where they win. In the world of dark psychology, this is called the burden shift. A person with nothing to hide provides evidence. A person with everything to hide provides an emotional guilt trip. They are testing your boundaries. If you back down now, you are telling them that your intuition is for sale. You are telling them that as long as they act offended, you will stop looking for the truth. But how do you handle a snake that wraps itself in the flag of honesty? You do not engage with their fake offense. You do not explain your reasons. To explain is to lose. When they ask, why would I lie to you? The amateur starts listing reasons. Because you lied before, or because the timing is weird. Do not do this. Giving them your reasons only gives them a map of what to fix in their next lie. Instead, use a sovereign counterstrike. Look them directly in the eyes. No blinking, no agitation. Keep your voice at a flat, dead level. And say, I'm not interested in your motives. I'm interested in the facts. Answer the question. Or, if you want to be truly Machiavellian, mirror their question back with a cold edge. That's exactly what I'm trying to determine. Let's look at the timeline again. By staying cold, you keep the audit alive. You refuse to be moved by their emotional theater. You are signaling that your mind is a fortress, and their guilt flip has no power here. But as dangerous as the guilt flip is, it's only the first line of defense. When they realize they can't make you feel guilty, they switch tactics. They move from attacking your motives to attacking the very foundation of your relationship. They move to a question designed to make you feel like the betrayer. 2. Are you really telling me you don't trust me? This is where the predator escalates. When the guilt flip fails to distract you, they stop defending the facts and start attacking the bond. This is the moment the conversation turns into a hostage situation. Notice the word really. It is a linguistic anchor designed to make your suspicion feel extreme, radical, and unearned. They are not asking for clarity. They are warning you. Continue pressing for the truth, and you will be blamed for damaging the relationship. This is the trust trap.
Bravo.
Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He wrote that appearing faithful is often more useful than being faithful. Trust is social currency. When a manipulator deploys this question, they are attempting to liquidate your doubt by making it emotionally unaffordable. They force you into a false choice: protect the relationship or protect the truth. They are betting you are conflict averse enough to choose the relationship. Why does this work? Because it triggers a rejection alarm in your brain. To say no, I don't trust you, feels like a social death sentence. It feels final. The predator knows this. They are hiding behind the sanctity of the bond to mask a breach of that very bond. It is the height of irony. They are using the concept of trust to protect a lie. This is what we call emotional blackmail. A person who is actually trustworthy will respond to your doubt with clarity. They will offer receipts, timelines, and transparency because they value the truth. A predator responds with indignation. They want you to believe that asking for evidence is an act of aggression. Look closely at the person asking this. Are they leaning in? Is their voice rising? Are they acting like the victim of a great injustice? In Machiavellian power dynamics, the one who claims the moral high ground controls the narrative. By acting wounded, they flip the roles. You are no longer the observer, you are the aggressor. This is how people train you to stop noticing.
Armor not hit.
So, how do you dismantle a trap built on your own loyalty? When they ask, are you really telling me you don't trust me? Do not flinch, do not apologize. The moment you say, it's not that I don't trust you, you have lost. You have just handed them the keys to the gate. Instead, look through them. Use the audit of reality. Say trust is the result of consistency. Right now, your story is inconsistent. I'm not talking about my feelings. I'm talking about the facts. Answer them. By refusing to defend your trust, you take the weapon out of their hand. You are telling them that your mind cannot be manipulated by emotional theater. But when a predator realizes that guilt won't stop you and the trust trap won't break you, they turn cold. They stop the drama and move into a phase of psychological stonewalling. They move to a question that is designed to make the truth feel worthless. They want to make you feel like even if you win the argument, you've already lost the game. The audit is getting deeper. 3. So, what exactly do you want me to say right now? This is not a request for direction. It is a middle finger to the truth. By asking this, they are telling you that the truth is dead, and they are willing to feed you whatever script will make you stop talking. They are mocking you. They are implying that you don't actually want honesty. You just want to win an argument. This is mock compliance. In The Prince, Machiavelli explains that a leader must never be perceived as easy to manipulate. If you tell a liar what you want to hear, You are literally handing them the remote control to your brain. You are telling them, here is the lie that satisfies me. Use it next time so I don't catch you. When a liar can no longer defend the facts, they stop trying to look innocent and start trying to make you look unreasonable. This question is not an attempt to understand you. It is an attempt to discredit the entire premise of truth. So, what exactly do you want me to say right now? Read it slowly. Feel the contempt inside it. They are mocking your intelligence by implying there is no objective reality, only whatever words will make you stop pressing. By asking this, they are reframing the situation. You are no longer the observer pointing out inconsistencies. You are the tyrant with